They take your claim more seriously, and if it is to be settled, it's settled better with a trial lawyer. Wrench Law, 605-341-1111, wrenchlaw.com.
I'm with Brian from Anytime Auto Sales. Tell me what you got going on with all your fantastic little campers.
Well, if you've been thinking about a camper, now's the time to buy, as you'll save $1,000 to $3,000 depending on the camper model. We're proud to feature the Bushwhackers from Braxton Creek and the all-aluminum and fiberglass Rove lights from Travel Light.
That's right. With all the fiberglass and aluminum construction, there's no rusting, molding, or rotting on these travel lights.
Correct. And right now, you'll get the best price you'll get all year on these ultralight teardrop and stand-up teardrop campers.
You just got to see these people. So many options for towing. No need for a diesel or big truck. Most SUVs have no problem towing these.
That's exactly right. With over a dozen floor plans, there's one just calling your name.
Come get yours today, everybody, and save $1,000 to $3,000 depending on the model.
There will never be a better time to buy this year.
Come check them out and save thousands on all campers. See AnytimeAnytime.com, and as always at the corner of Highway 79 and East Minnesota.
Anytime Auto Sales.
Pops Tire Service is your low-price headquarters for all major tire brands. We buy tires manufactured direct and sell to you for less. Right now, get up to $265 in rebates on Goodyear, up to $160 in rebates on Bridgestone, or up to $150 in rebates on Firestone. Pops Tire won't be undersold. Hurry, offers end July 31st. See store for details. Visit us online at pompstire.com. Pomps, we know tires and service. You should know Pomps.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
All-Star game is tonight from Texas, and it all starts at 8 Eastern. Pirates rookie sensation Paul Skeens will be on the mound to start for the NL, and Corbin Burns of the Orioles will start for the AL. Commissioner Rob Manfred spoke to the media ahead of the All-Star game, and he mentioned that MLB players participating in the 2028 LA Olympics remains a possibility, and that the league will test robot umpires as part of a challenge system during spring training in 2025, which could lead to regular season use in 2026. In the NFL, 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk has requested a trade, but ESPN reports that teams have reached out to the Niners and have been told that they have no intention of trading him. Wide receiver Devontae Adams' agent said that the trade talk rumors surrounding their client are baseless and unfounded speculation, and that there have been no trade talks with the Raiders. I'm Monty Bolaño.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, live interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest local stories. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in. We are back on a Tuesday, and we are rolling. It's always a great day in the Black Hills. We know that. The Nate Brown Show is up and running on Twitter X. Brand new premium streaming account. Unbelievable. Yes, we are ready to go. South Dakota Sports Talk Show back on a Tuesday. Hope you're having a good one. Thanks for checking in with us. A reminder, not only do we appreciate all of our listeners, we appreciate all of our local sponsors as well. So whoever you hear, from car dealers to insurance to restaurants, the list goes on, healthcare, please pay them a visit. Fox Sports Rapid City wouldn't be here covering local sports at all without our sponsors heard every day on Fox Sports Rapid City. So thanks for checking in. We're ready to go. 2 hours thought-provoking sports talk. The Nate Brown Show is back and ready. 106.7 FM, 1150 AM. And again, streaming right now on X, Twitter. Glad to be up there. We got that stream going at Nate Brown Show. So you've got us on Twitter. If you're on there, follow the show first and then watch us live 4 to 6 at Nate Brown Show on Twitter X, and also up right now on YouTube, The Nate Brown Show. Search for it, subscribe. The Nate Brown Show, our YouTube channel. So here we go. We're brought to you in part by Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. When it comes to the best care in the Black Hills since 1976, they take care of the weekend warrior and the elite athlete on the field right now. It's Black Hills Ortho, now with urgent care as well. So an injury happens when you least expect it. Get into Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center Urgent Care. Start online, learn more at bhosc.com, bhosc.com. Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. Let's look at the Tuesday show, and then we'll get to it, all right? Get some questions of the day thrown around. Going to go to a South Dakota high school sports topic I find really interesting these days, and comparing South Dakota and other states. We'll get to that. Look at the lineup. Brand new guest coming on tonight. We said we're going to try and stop by every NFL market. We've been to a lot of them. I got to keep track now. I better start my spreadsheet. I got to get my spreadsheet out. We've been to a lot of markets when it comes to the NFL. We're going to get an insider's preview of that team and go deep. So we've went to all over the place. Today, it's your team. Is this your team? America's team. We're going to go to Dallas and talk to Bobby Belt, Cowboys insider, 105.3 The Fan, Dallas-Fort Worth. So it's Cowboys Day today. Never thought you'd get a Dallas Cowboys insider preview on the Nate Brown Show. You've got it. So get ready, Cowboy fans. We got you. Bobby Belt's in from 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. Going to go out to L.A. tonight. Kevin Figures is on AM 570 Los Angeles. An update on Bronny James. You have to have it. Yes, I didn't say we were going to have fun. I said we have to do it. Kevin Figures, AM 570 Los Angeles. Mike Golick Jr. on tonight. College football analyst, national host Gojo and Golick with his dad. Mike Golick Jr. on. Thor Nystrom will check in. College football draft analyst as well. Fantasy Life. Thor's on the way. And Kelvin Torvey on his way back from the Twin Cities, where Post-22 Expos made a run into the semifinals. The Expos made a run deep out of their pool and almost got to the championship of that Gopher Classic. They got knocked off today. They're on their way back. Kelvin Torvey on, Post-22 Hard Hats head coach. So a busy Tuesday show. We'll try and make it count here, have some fun. 720-1067 is our number. If you want to join the show, always invite you on. Join the conversation. 720-1067 is the studio line. Barron's Wilson text line open. I've got it open, ready to go. Text the show, same story. 720-1067, the Barron's Wilson text line. All right, so we're set and out of the gate. Okay, a couple of things I want to get to. I'm going to get to this college sports story as well that's kind of getting buried, but I want to go to this high school situation here. So what happens in summer? We all know what happens in summer now when it comes to high school sports. There's all sorts of camps, and it kind of depends which sports you're in. There's camps, team camps, individual camps. There's individual workouts that you can do. There's team gatherings. There's open gyms. There's travel basketball. I mean, so just go through the list. Volleyball, basketball, football, soccer. Go through the list. And then you got baseball, softball going on. So like Post-22's playing their regular season. And then on the softball side, you have the travel softball, which has just started, hits its stride in the summer as well. So you got stuff going on. If you're a sports parent, you know what I'm talking about. And it's ramped up more and more. So back in the day, here's I was one of the few. Oh, yes, the great athlete that I was. I was one of the few. I was doing workouts with my brother. My brother would bring back the Wyoming Cowboys workout his first couple of years there. And so he'd bring it back, and we'd do the Wyoming Cowboys workout. I was a youngster. He was a college football player. I think I horked a few times, if I remember correctly. But, we did that. That was the summer work, and I make that point. Why? There was hardly anybody else on my team that would put in a bunch of work. Sometimes a little bit of weightlifting, sometimes some workouts, but not near where the effort is at today, 2024. And I say this why? I've been going the last few weeks myself, and I'm going to Sioux Park at 6:30 in the morning, and I'm seeing workouts. There's athletes all over the field. I mean, they're all over the field. There's athletes doing individual workouts, speed workouts. There's teams doing workouts. Central, Stevens, boys, girls. I saw football, a little 7-on-7 going on. I mean, I'm seeing this stuff 7 a.m., 6:30, 7 a.m. in the morning, every single morning. And so I'm thinking back to, man, there used to not be the effort in the offseason like this. And my point is, sometimes people will look at our high school sports teams around here and they'll say, well, you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. And I've said this before. We have some great programs. We have some really good programs, really good athletes, dedicated, committed. I mean, way more today than even back in the day. And I'm not saying nobody did anything. I just brought up my example from Montana. I thought, man, I'm getting the Wyoming Cowboys workout in. This is the real deal. And it was, but there wasn't a whole effort from the whole program, the whole team. Now, today, for the most part, there is. Should there be more buy-in from the entire team? I think in certain programs, probably. But I'm sitting here looking at it the last few weeks, June, July. There's players, athletes, high school kids, even younger than high school. They're putting in work 7 a.m. on a weekday morning and putting in that effort. And my point of this is, how much can you do in South Dakota high school sports in the summer? How much should you do the off-season work to put in the work? Because you always hear it. You're not going to have a good football team if you just show up in August for practice. That's what everybody says. Our football teams have struggled. You're not going to get good. This is true, and it goes to, do we have enough of the players, enough of the team committed? There's probably a really strong 14, 15 guys. That needs to be ramped up times 4 or 5, honestly, if you're going to really, really build. So maybe that's starting to catch on here a little bit. You got to put in the off-season work, the summer work to make it happen. How much can coaches be involved in that? Well, this is where I want to get to the story of the day, essentially. How much can coaches be involved in the off-season work for our high school athletes here? In South Dakota, it's limited. I don't know if a lot of people know these rules. There's coaches' contact hours, they call them. In South Dakota, the Activities Association has rules. You can only have so much contact with your team. You can only go to so many team camps. You can only have organized get-togethers, so many of those. You can't have coaches running the show all summer long and making kids do this and this and this. Now, some people would say here on the program, they would say, well, that's a problem. You should be able to have coaches involved, and you're never going to have the buy-in and the commitment. Well, here's the story. My friend Matt Kearney of the Nate Brown Show, great researcher, he's finding this, and we're looking at other states do this differently. For example, what we found here, Minnesota actually has rules in place just for football, is what we saw. Just for football, Minnesota says, here's the maximum contact days. Here's what you can do with your team. Football has rules. There are no restrictions on other sports. This is the state of Minnesota right next door. So football has rules. The other sports, you can do this, do that, do this. No restrictions, get-togethers, practices, the whole thing. And the coach contact hours is not a problem. So I'm gonna ask that question of the day as I've thought about this. I said I like seeing the activity. I like seeing everybody active and taking some ownership in the whole thing. Is South Dakota getting it right when it comes to high school sports? We all know we need to have a buy-in in the summer in order for our programs to get better, namely like football, for example, where we've struggled. You've got to have a lot of buy-in, a lot of effort, a lot of commitment in the summer. Otherwise, that's just not going to work. So how much should you have rules in place that, hey, kids shouldn't be under this microscope or under this coach's watch all the time in the summer? Do you think South Dakota gets it right? We have rules in place. Contact hours limited. Organized practice times essentially very limited. You can go to a camp or two, depending, right? Football, basketball, you can go to a couple of team camps. That's usually how it goes. I don't know exactly how many you can, but it comes down to contact days and contact hours. Do we have it right in South Dakota? Rules are in place to limit the coach's contact. Minnesota, no limits, no restrictions. You can practice. You can participate in summer league games. Coaches can do it. June 1 to August 1. The only sport that has rules in Minnesota is football. How should we do it in South Dakota? No rules or the rules that we have right now? Thanks for calling. You're live, and you go ahead.
Well, you got to have rules.
Got to have rules.
Now, I'm going to teach you youngins a little bit about life.
Okay,
now,
I'm ready.
You got this NIL. Oh, you laugh.
I'm ready.
Ahead, Nate.
I'm ready.
You got this NIL money. You got this. You know what? It worked in the old days where old Bob Devaney had come down to Duffy's Bar on 36th Street, where all the big guys that collected money for the main bookies, like my dad, and here come Bob Devaney in for a quick beer. And there'd be handshakes, Nate, and hand pockets.
Yes.
It's just sad. But kids got to put in the effort. I know you see them in the morning and everything.
I have,
but,
yeah. I don't know if I've seen enough, but I've seen a good amount.
League. We just finished the summer basketball league.
Okay.
I reffed every week, Nate. Oh, that hurt. Them old boys made me ref 5 games last day.
Up and down the floor. I love it.
Oh, man. That Stevens coach, that 6-footer from the east side,
yeah.
Jesus. He looks like he's 20 years old running down the court, Nate.
He's a player.
Slim and trim, and here I am.
Yeah.
You know, he actually ran all the way down to the free throw line, Nate.
There you go.
When he was the top of it. I had to do it, too. That's not right.
He made you put in some work.
Go back to the old days. You know, everybody, I don't know, but I can tell you in the 60s, we had leagues in the summer. We used to meet down at Miller Park in North Omaha. And Nate, maybe the head coach wasn't there, but his brother was.
Sure. I mean, there's workarounds here. I mean, you got but you say you got to have rules. So you think you have to have rules for what? Consistency? So everybody's under the same thing?
Yes, sir. And I tell you what, Wayne Sullivan, I would put him on the board just because he knows every rule and how to play it. And I say that in a very positive way.
Okay.
But, yeah, you got to have some rules. But, my God, run 7-on-7. I saw some last night down at Sioux Park. Silver helmets. Kids got to do it on their own.
Yeah. No, I've seen those guys out. Hey, here's the thing. I've seen kids out, and I think it's a great thing. I don't know if there's enough of them in certain programs. Some programs, a lot of them. Certain programs, maybe not enough. That's just that's my read. But
you know, even in the summer, we played football. We played basketball. We played baseball. We played golf. You know, and we just did it all.
All right.
You know,
no, I got you on that. And Minnesota just says, hey, you can do whatever you want. That's essentially, outside of football, Minnesota rules are, there are no summer rules.
Oh, that's why I was going to call you. That's why them Sioux Falls T schools, they can go, they play league quite a bit past us. They can go into Minnesota.
Interesting.
On their own. They got to drive themselves, all that, you know.
Yep.
But they can go into Minnesota and play on like Tuesday or Wednesdays. My kid goes over there.
Okay, I got you on that because there's no dead periods, essentially. All right.
Yeah.
All right, man. I appreciate it. As always, thanks for getting in. We're off and running on a Tuesday. It's something I thought about. We're in the middle of summer. We talk about the buy-in, the commitment. You got to have it. This came out. What about Minnesota high school activities? Do they have it right? The only restrictions and rules in place for the summer is on football. And the current rules that we saw here are football is limited to 11 practices, 11 events there during the summer. 11. That's football. The other sports in the summer in Minnesota, there's no dead periods. There's no restrictions. I'm going to throw out the question of the day. Do you think South Dakota has it right? The current rules for high school kids in the summer, we have rules limiting coach contact, limiting coach practices. Okay, like where the coach is running the show. We have rules that, hey, you can't tell kids you have to come to this, essentially. You know how people work around this. Wink, wink. Hey, there's open gym. Hey, we have open gym 3 nights a week. You can come if you want to play basketball. We got open gym. I get it. It's the same story. I've been there. I've seen this. Does South Dakota have it right, or would you go Minnesota's route? That's what I want to know. I'm looking at kids have to put in the work, but our rules in South Dakota, there are limited coach contact, limited sanctioned events, essentially. Like you can only choose a couple of camps to go to with your team and things like that. Does South Dakota have it right? Or Minnesota, the only restrictions are on football. Every other sport, essentially, no restrictions. You can do what you want in the summer. So it's essentially being left up to the coach and the program. Maybe I'm a head soccer coach in Minnesota. Well, I can do this, that, do a camp, maybe take my team to something. I don't know. But you can do whatever you want in Minnesota. Who has it right? Which way would you go? South Dakota, rules in place, off-season for the high schoolers, or Minnesota, not many rules in place outside of football for the summer months. 720-1067 on the Nate Brown Show. I want you to check in on that because it's interesting. A lot of votes coming in on Twitter X. A lot of votes to our question of the day coming in on Twitter X. Here's a response. They aren't that enforceable anyway, the rules. Good programs in South Dakota have workarounds in place. You're only hurting the smaller and newer programs. Bad rules, scrap them. Bad rules, scrap them. Listener reaction here. With coaches now texting players directly anyway, this is not enforceable. So you're saying the rules that are in place right now are not enforceable? Because coaches are just texting players, hey, come to this, come to that? Okay. Listener reaction. State needs to address open enrollment just to play sports. Oh, now we're down a different road. Hang on. Let's get to the results on the Nate Brown Show question of the day. South Dakota high school activities, they have rules in place for summer contact hours and summer practices and things like that. They limit it. We limit it in all the sports. Minnesota has it loose. Who has it right? 64% of you responding on Twitter X. South Dakota has it right. Keep the strict rules. 36% of you say, let the programs decide one by one. What's my answer to the question of the day? What's yours? You can text it 720-1067, or you can call us on the studio line. My answer is I want uniformity. So I'm trying to be pretty consistent. Trying to be pretty consistent. I know it's hard. I do the show every day. You don't want to flip-flop around. I'm trying to be consistent on, I wanted uniformity in college sports, name, image, and likeness, transfer rules. I wanted uniformity where everybody's doing the same thing. We don't have it. College sports got a mess because this state has this rule, that state superseded the NCAA. We got into a mess with name, image, and likeness. No uniformity. So I'm going to say South Dakota, coaches may argue with me. I don't know. South Dakota, I think, has it right for 2 reasons. One is you got to have consistency, uniformity. I don't want to leave it up to the programs because then you've got somebody going crazy and we're going to do this, this, and this, and this all summer long, and this is required and that's required. Parents are going to accept, hey, if you're committed to a team, you got to be buying in, you got to be committed. But I don't think you need to have one program going crazy and another program's like, we might do this, we might do that. So from that standpoint, uniformity, consistency on the rules, that doesn't allow one program to go over the top, way over the top, making this mandatory or that mandatory. I don't think that plays well. And then the other side of this is, when you think about it, this isn't easy for kids anyway, being in multiple sports. So how can I have this program wanting me playing volleyball all summer, and maybe I'm a basketball player as well, and I got to go play basketball too. And now I've got no rules in place, so the volleyball team's wanting to do this and this and this all the time, and now the basketball team's going to do this and this and this. It puts the kids and the parents in a bad spot. I'm surprised Minnesota can really, say, the only rules we have for summer is on football. I want everybody on an even playing field there. You got to have some consistency from sport to sport. You got to have some consistency for the players and the parents, where one program can't decide to do this and the other program's just as demanding, and we're also going to do this. Coaches may say we don't get enough contact or we don't get enough work in the summer, and then people complain, you got to put in the work, you got to put in the effort. I think South Dakota has it right, and yes, there are programs that can have an open gym, have this event. You're supposed to come to it, if you're on the team, and I get it. It's already kind of a requirement. Nobody comes out and says it because it's against the rules, but if you know, you know. So I'm going to say South Dakota's right. Minnesota, to me, different rules for different sports. Football's under the gun. We have it limited. How about the multi-sport athletes? Are they going to be able to handle it if you didn't have any rules? I want the rules that we have. I'm going to stick with South Dakota. 64% of you, I guess you'd call them strict rules, keep them in place. I think we need that in the offseason for a few reasons. We all want to become better teams and better athletes. We want our programs to be good and our kids to be putting in the work and the whole thing. Yet we can't have a free-for-all. Apparently, Minnesota, not quite under the same guidelines that we have in South Dakota. That's interesting to me. And then I get a listener reaction here. Somebody just said, you should see Texas. Texas has really strict rules. Is that right? You think Texas was, not that strict to rules? Like, hey, if you're playing football in Texas, it's we're playing football all the time. That must not be the case. Coming right back, we'll talk to Thor Nystrom. Thor Nystrom kicking off the Tuesday show as we get going. College football and NFL draft analyst for Fantasy Life. What has Thor Nystrom been doing? He's a great writer, he's a great analyst. What has he been doing the last 24 hours? I'm going to start there next.
Did you miss an interview or great segment on The Nate Brown Show? Just find The Nate Brown Show podcast and listen wherever you download your podcasts.
Ready for some rodeo action? Wild West Wednesdays at Hart Ranch Camping Resort are back at Max Steel Arena with weekly rodeos until August 14th. Gates open at 5 p.m. with performances starting at 7 p.m. Join us July 17th as we're celebrating our healthcare heroes with Healthcare Workers Appreciation Night. Tickets are available at the gate or at hrresorts.org. Thank you to our major sponsors, True Grit RV Repair, Dakota Discount RV, Jack's Campers, Midwest Campers, Camping World, Sanders Sanitation, WeatherTight Exteriors, and All Pro Insulation.
Attention all pickleball players. Get ready for the second annual Beat the Heat Pickleball Tournament at the Boxelder Event Center on August 10th and 11th. Pick up your paddles and join us for a weekend of smashing, volleying, and competing. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we have divisions for all skill levels. Meet fellow pickleball enthusiasts and enjoy a day of fun. Register now at thebox.live. Last day to register is August 5th. See you on the courts.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Mainly clear tonight with lows around 61. Easterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly sunny again tomorrow. Chance of thunderstorms 87. Lows level off around 61. Tomorrow night mainly clear. Low 90s Thursday and Friday with thunderstorms possible both days. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 83 degrees.
Hi, this is Rob at Firehouse Wine Cellars, downtown Rapid City. It's summer in the Black Hills, and our selection of wines at Firehouse Wine Cellars has never been better. The difference with Firehouse Wines is we make our wines right here in our modern winemaking facility with real grapes from the best vineyards on the West Coast. If you love wine, you need to sign up for our Firehouse Club 1915, which will get you some exclusive benefits and tastings. Join us this summer at Firehouse Wine Cellars on Main Street and enjoy the best wine in the Black Hills. You can see our great selection right now at FirehouseWineCellars.com.
Is your truck or fleet insurance a one-size-fits-all approach? The commercial line agents at Fisher Rounds and Associates know that each company fleet, owner-operator, or ag producer has unique coverage needs. We understand all the risks and liabilities, so we can create a customized policy that ensures you are fully covered. We're at your service, at your side. Fisher Rounds and Associates, serving your truck insurance needs with offices in Pierre, Mitchell, Rapid City, Sioux Falls, and Watertown.
We're all going somewhere. Going higher, faster, farther. Going in new directions, to new places. At Monument Health, we keep going so you can keep going. We're dedicated to advanced orthopedic care with the latest innovations, technology, expertise, and treatment. So keep exploring. Keep making memories. Keep going with Monument Health as your partner. Learn more at monument.health/orthopedics.
Live from the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Details Studio. Sales, service, and recreation. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show, ready to go on a Tuesday. We are out of the gate. A lot of good stuff tonight. Mike Golick Jr. is coming up. Bobby Belt live from Dallas. We're going to jump around the NFL. We've been to a lot of markets already. Try to get you an insider's preview of every NFL team, okay? And we're going to Dallas tonight. Bobby Belt, 105.3 The Fan reporter, covers the Cowboys coming up. Out to Los Angeles as well. Kevin Figures on the way from AM 570 Los Angeles. Good lineup tonight with Thor Nystrom on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Thor Nystrom with Fantasy Life, college football, and NFL draft analyst on Twitter X at ThorKU. Thor, good to have you back. How are you?
I'm doing great, Nate. The EA Sports game is out playing the college football, so it's a good day in my world.
Okay, I was teasing this segment coming up with you, and I said, what has Thor Nystrom been doing the last 24 hours? And I got to know, EA Sports College Football 25. My producer, Matt Kearney, he got the early release of the game, so he played last night. Who did you play with? Who did you start out with? The game is back, and who did Thor Nystrom play with?
I started a couple different dynasties. The first was Kansas, and then I simmed through the first season of that because I wanted to see how the recruiting went. So basically, it's going through that week by week and, setting up your board, everything like that, and then in the off season and to see the way the portal worked too. And then I started a different dynasty later on that I'm actually going to play out the season with the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, or who my Twitter followers voted for me to start with. So we beat up on an FCS team with Hawaii in the opener. Okay, so Kansas start. We know, Thor KU, you're a Kansas guy. And then you go Hawaii, the Hawaii Warriors. Okay, couple more on the game. Because I haven't gotten the game. I'm tempted. I haven't played an EA Sports game since 2012, Thor. I mean, I got a boring life, I'm telling you. So 12 years later, should I get the game? I'm tempted, get a PlayStation 5, the whole thing. What is the game like? Matt told me here, he said the game's great. He gave it a strong A-, B+. What would you say? Yeah, well, I have less of a life because I have been playing NCAA 14 since they released that in 2013. Every year in the forums they would these guys would work on the new rosters. They put out a new roster pack for every season. So we'd start a new online dynasty, me and the guys I play with, like this time every single year, because we would get the new rosters. But the new game is definitely different from that. I definitely feel like a boomer. You go from playing the PS3 and playing that game to now we're in PS5. The graphics obviously are way better, and you can do way more stuff with the gameplay, and they've incorporated some of that stuff. And some of it requires a steep learning curve for a dinosaur like myself. One of the random ones was the kicking. I find very difficult. It's different, and you have to line up two. You have to get it in the middle of this 1 meter. Then the power meter goes up, and you have to get it at the top of it. It's definitely different than the old game. Okay, so you like it. You think it's well done. Let me ask you a big picture question. People say, "Oh, come on, it's a video game." In the first day, yesterday afternoon, we saw over 500,000 users playing it online at once, and that's the early release.
Do you think this does anything for college football? Meaning, you got younger guys and people that are going to play this. Is this going to have an impact on the interest of college football?
1,000%. Yeah, and we're already seeing that, and it's going to be across, run the gamut on it. For instance, one manifestation of this, I didn't think this was a coincidence. Today, Underdog released college football best ball leagues. Last year, I think, or the year before, they released college football pick'em, but this is the first time you could do best ball, and it seems like they lined that up to be in conjunction with the college football game. That's just one example of it, but yeah, you're going to see a lot more interest because the public now, not only the hype behind this game, but just the ability to educate the public on the rosters. You learn the rosters quicker from just playing that game than you would doing almost anything else. So the familiarity with those guys, and then going to the 12-team playoff this year, I think is going to spark a lot of interest as well. So yeah, the market for college football is strong right now. Okay,
Thor Nystrom's on College Football 25, EA Sports. He's been in it, and he's taking a break to be on the Nate Brown Show. It's amazing. College football analyst, draft analyst as well for Fantasy Life. So I'm going to think about this. The players in the game, when I played it back in the day, of course, you didn't have the names. You just had the numbers. So this is part of that NIL piece. The players being in the game, that has to be an added element. This quarterback, that quarterback, that has to be a real added element. Do I have you?
I'm sorry, Nate. I lost you for a sec.
Okay.
Can you say that one more time?
No worries. Having the actual player names in the game has to be an added element. We never had that.
Well, yeah, 1,000%. I'm old enough where back in the day, my friends and I in high school, one of us would take the memory card, and then that night we were supposed to fill in the names of two teams, and then you bring it back the next day, you hand it to the next guy that morning, and then he does the same thing. That's how we would name all the rosters. And by the end of it, we probably get to 90 or 100 named rosters. Usually didn't get to the end, but pretty dang close. But yeah, now you don't have to do that anymore. Obviously, NIL helps. Almost everybody opted into the game. Yesterday was the first time we got to start going through rosters to see who didn't opt in. Very small list, to the point where it's surprising. If you like Diego Pavia, the Vanderbilt quarterback, didn't apparently. But yeah, I mean, almost everybody's in. And it's cool because then it's EA is you trust their process more for developing these ratings. They talked about how they had watched game film, gone over PFF grades and everything like that. So we have an accurate roster for the first time in that regard.
All right, good stuff. The game has returned. I'm on that edge. I've got to clear it with the family. I mean, it's a big sell. EA Sports College Football 25 is out. Thor Nystrom playing it. Follow him at ThorKU. That's where you'll find him on X Twitter. Okay, let's go to a couple of college football things I want you to read on. Dabo Swinney, Clemson head coach, just said this about the expanded playoff. You would think he'd be happy. Hey, Clemson, good shot here. He said there might be some unintended consequences. What if you're 4-4, you're out of the running? He thinks you're going to have players opt out mid-season. I'm not in the playoff. I'm going to go to Arizona and start training for the NFL. Is he right?
Yes and no. I mean, like in that we already have that, and it's not after 8 games; it's after 4 because the players, once they get to their 5th appearance, their red shirt goes away. So that's typically when you see the opt outs in this, not opt outs, but stepping away from the team to retain the red shirt because they know that they're going to transfer. Obviously, he's speaking from Clemson's perspective. And maybe, maybe some of the high-end draft guys, you might see that if it's like a team that had expectations and they're going to miss the college football playoff. But I would be surprised about that, too. It's become accepted to skip the bowl game if it's a non-big bowl game for, let's say a first-round guy to shut it down halfway through the season.
Yeah.
You're going to raise some red flags in your draft evaluation. Will it cost you money? I'm not sure, but I don't think that we're going to see much of that.
Okay, so you're going to say you're not going to see a flood of players opt out and quit on their team essentially if they're out of the playoff. You think maybe a few?
Yeah, because we had a college football playoff before. Of course, it was only 4 teams, but it's not like you saw guys opting out in late October, just walking away from their team or early November because their team is no longer in contention for the college football playoff. Now, walk away for the bowl game, yeah. You see plenty of opt-outs at the bowl games. I would expect that to continue, but there's going to be rancor if players start leaving in the middle of the regular season and questions from the NFL. I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze with that.
Thor Nystrom in tonight. It's SEC Media Days, Thor, so finding out about the SEC. Kirby Smart at Georgia had another speeding thing pop up down there with his players. He said the Georgia NIL Collective is looking at fining the players. The collective fining the players. First time I've ever seen something like that. What do you say?
Yeah, that's actually an interesting idea. They have a problem in the culture down there with this very specific thing. It's very strange, but over and over and over again with that program, we have seen this. And Kirby Smart, who is as organized and on point and forward moving as you get with coaches, you could understand that he would be pulling his hair out at this point. Because it's not just a public safety thing; it's also an optic thing. And does Kirby have control of that? So just on a personal level, he has to have been racking his brain for the last calendar year of what can we do beyond the discipline that we do? Because obviously that is not cutting this down. That's a very interesting idea. That's the first I'm hearing of that. I've had my head down in the NCAA game, but I like that idea. If you sign a contract, which is exactly what it's an NIL contract, you should be allowed to put language in there that if you get X or X, certain amount can get taken away. I imagine it would be on the back end of that, but assuredly there's language that you could put in there.
Yeah, he just threw it out there at SEC Media Days today. Kirby Smart, Georgia head coach, said the Georgia NIL Collective's looking at fining players for problems like they've had there with the speeding. Thor Nystrom tonight, college football and NFL draft analyst. He's back to it. Hawaii, college football 25. Who's on the schedule next? Who do we got for Hawaii?
I did pack the non-conference with cupcakes. Now I took care of my only FCS team, but I think we got UMass coming up. I know I put Kennesaw State on there. I wanted to welcome them to the FBS by bringing them out to Honolulu and dropping the hammer on them. But those are the next couple before we open Mountain West play.
UMass and Kennesaw State. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's the Alabama non-conference schedule. Come on. Okay, bud. Thanks for the time.
We're trying to make a bowl game, Nate. We got to.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Good to have him. Thor Nystrom. Fun stuff. He's deep into it. College football 25. Now we got to do this. So, should I set up a matchup between Thor Nystrom and Matt Kearney? Should we set up a matchup there? Matt's got the game. Thor's got the game. Hawaii against Boise State. Just an update for Matt Kearney here. An update on the Nate Brown Show. He played it last night. Okay, he has a life. He has some responsibilities, but he played it last night. He beat. He lost to Wyoming. He was Boise State, and he lost to Wyoming. And then I thought he was like, well, I scored with Wyoming. I was Wyoming against Colorado State my second game. And I was like, oh, you beat Colorado State. No, he lost to Colorado State too. So he lost with Boise State to Wyoming, and then he lost with Wyoming to Colorado State. He's a little rusty. It's okay. So I don't know. Maybe we'll give him some time. Now I got to think about, do I get in this thing? Thor Nystrom sounds like he's already up to speed a little bit, trying to hit midseason form. EA Sports College Football 25 is out. By the way, what do you think of Dabo Swinney? He just threw that out there this afternoon, saying this college football playoffs, that's what everybody's going to be focused on now. There's going to be not conference championships and stuff's not going to matter. He's essentially saying, if you're not in the playoff, then he thinks players are going to bag it midway through the year. He's like, hey, that's the emphasis is going to be being in the playoff. Otherwise, you stink. And so he thinks the bowl games have already taken away the importance, right? So if you're in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, nobody's excited. He thinks now it's going to be even less. So if you're not in the 12-team playoff, you're nothing. And if you're an NFL draft prospect, you're going to bag it. I have a feeling he's right. I mean, I've done this show, and I've seen these guys. The first opt-outs for the bowl games. And then people thought, oh, that's not a big deal. And then it happens all the time, more and more and more. And then you know what else happens? Then we went down to the high school level. Now you have high school kids that are college prospects that bag their entire senior seasons. They don't even play high school, finish it out. So if you don't think it's a constant slippery slope, if you're not going to be in the playoff and that's what you're playing for, and you're on Alabama, what do you think? You're going to play it out for what? So Coach DeBoer is going to be able to keep you on board for what? The Citrus Bowl? So I don't... Dabo Swinney said, look out, emphasis is now on the playoff, and if you're not in the top 12, if you don't think you have a shot, he thinks guys are going to bag it, just go do their own thing, get ready for the NFL. And he thinks if you do have a playoff spot locked up, he said today, if you're a team that's at the top and you got it locked up, you can maybe afford to lose or so, you're going to sit out your players in later games. So, like the NFL does, hey, I got a playoff spot, we're going to sit Patrick Mahomes out. Look out. Interesting thoughts from him. Kevin Figures on next on the Nate Brown Show. We're going to go out to Los Angeles. He's with AM 570 Los Angeles. I have a tough question for you. How tough are you going to be on this? Do you feel sorry at all for the struggles in Summer League for Bronny James? Do you feel sorry at all? We'll discuss with Kevin on the way.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show, on FoxSportsRapidCity.com and live on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Santa in the pool? Oh my! Renewal by Anderson's incredible Christmas in July 2024 event is so great that even Santa is shocked. 20% off, no money down, no interest, no payments for 18 months. No payments until 2026. Windows, patio, and entry doors from Renewal by Anderson. And Renewal's Acclaim and Ensemble lines are the best of the best. Imagine no payments until 26. Please visit RBARapidCity.com now. It's Christmas in July at Renewal by Anderson. It's so good even Santa is shocked.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
All right, we're talking with Britt Wicked at Elevate Performance Physical Therapy for an Elevate Performance Health Minute. Right now, it's baseball season, and one thing I know with baseball, I hear about this overuse shoulder injury.
It's something that we see a lot clinically. Repetitive motions place ourselves at an increased risk for sustaining an injury, especially if it's a movement that hasn't necessarily been done a lot previously.
And one thing, some people say, well, you just have to rest, but not all the time.
Yeah, so it's good to take a break in a sense. But that doesn't necessarily mean do nothing at all. If you're experiencing symptoms like that and having soreness with throwing in particular, that's a good time to be seen by a physical therapist to try to assess the root cause of your symptoms. You could have weakness in the rotator cuff. We could have some shoulder instability. There's a lot going on with throwing, so it's important to have that thoroughly assessed to get you back on the road to recovery.
Get started at ElevatePerformanceSD.com. Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club in Spearfish invites you for the best golfing experience that South Dakota has to offer. Elkhorn Ridge has been ranked by Golf Digest as the #1 public course in the state. Off exit 17 in Spearfish, Elkhorn Ridge offers an 18-hole championship layout with breathtaking views and an experience second to none. South Dakota's #1 public golf course is right in your backyard. Book a tee time and hit the course at Elkhorn Ridge. Visit ElkhornRidgeResort.com.
Get away from it all in the great outdoors for lasting family memories with a new or pre-owned RV from Dakota Discount RV. We make your RV experience fun and easy by providing you with a quality recreational vehicle, competitive pricing, and professional sales and service. Our large inventory of fifth-wheelers, travel trailers, toy haulers, and live-in horse trailers allows us to save our customers thousands of dollars compared to most dealers. Stop by and see us at Dakota Discount RV, 3330 East Mall Drive across from Cabela's and on JB Road, Blackhawk.
Hi, this is Dan Patrick. Remember to catch me weekday mornings from 7 until 10 a.m. right here on 106.7 FM and 1150 a.m. Fox Sports Rapid City. And now, back to Rapid City's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is back on Fox Sports Rapid City. We are up on X, Twitter, streaming live now. So, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, the only radio show streaming on X, Twitter, in South Dakota. I mean, that might be the case. It's close. It's close. We're live there on X, Twitter, at Nate Brown Show. So, if you have the account, follow us at Nate Brown Show, and you've got the show live weekdays 4 to 6. We're here on the radio. Appreciate the radio audience. 106.7 FM, 1150 AM. The Black Hills Sports Station, and stream us there, foxsportsrapidcity.com. Kevin Figures in today from L.A., AM 570 L.A. Kevin, good to have you back. How are you?
Nate, it's always a pleasure, man. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. So I got to tell you, okay, a couple of experiences here. I came out to Malibu a couple of weeks ago. Came out to Malibu. My first time in Malibu. I've been to L.A., but I didn't make it up to Malibu. Malibu's just, I mean, that's the real deal, Kevin. That is the real deal. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous, right, Nate? And it makes you understand why it's so coveted. It's a coveted spot, even in Los Angeles for a lot of people. Let's put it this way, Nate. I can't afford to live in Malibu. I'll just put it that way.
Well, I could afford it for a week, barely. Barely. Okay. And then I did say this. So then I drove around. I mean, I'm a Rapid City, South Dakota guy. I got around on I-5, and what was the other big one? Was it the 405? Do I have that right?
Yes, the 405, absolutely. The 405 parking lot, as we call it here.
I got around good, man. If you ever need help, you just call me in Rapid City, South Dakota. I was getting around L.A. like no problem. Okay. By the way,
okay.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
be
know.
my navigator for sure. I've been trying to figure these roads out for 30+ years, and I can't do it, Nate. So I will give you a ring next time for sure.
Well, I have to tell you, I didn't run into that much traffic. I don't know what it was. All you guys complain about traffic out there in L.A. Anyway, all right. Let me get to this. Bronny James is in the headlines big time. And so you guys cover this. The Lakers are the story. By the way, that's the number one brand I saw when I was driving around on my vacation. The number one brand I saw, and it's Dodger season, I saw Laker stuff. I saw Laker stuff everywhere. So you're talking about Bronny James, what is the feeling like with his struggles in the Summer League?
Well, there's a couple of different camps when it comes to Bronny. I think more of the level-headed people who knew what this situation was all about are saying you have to give the kid time to develop. Realize that I know it's an evil term for a lot of people, and mostly because it's used in a derogatory fashion. But we used to call somebody a Nepo baby. Usually it's not something that's positive. But, I mean, I think even Bronny recognizes he would not have gotten this opportunity if his name was not LeBron James Jr. And in the corporate world, stuff like this happens all the time. Certain people get certain opportunities, and now really the onus is on Bronny to figure out whether or not he can live up to it. He's gotten the opportunity. Now will he put in the work to improve? There are certain people that feels like if he puts in the work, he can carve out a very solid.
Do I have you, Kevin? Are you there?
When he did play at USC, he was not that good, despite the fact that he almost died from a heart issue, by the way. And he has no business being in the NBA, and this is a complete and utter joke. I tend to fall on the former side, to be honest with you. Look, he was a good athlete. He was a McDonald's All-American. There were a lot of people who felt that he could turn himself into an NBA lottery pick if he allowed himself to stay in college for 3 years. You don't get to that point if you don't have any talent or they don't have a future projection of the kind of player that you might be able to turn into. So, yes, he received an opportunity that he probably should not have gotten, that he probably wasn't ready for yet. that doesn't mean that he can't be a viable NBA player, again, if he puts in the requisite work to be that.
Okay, interesting. Kevin Figures on tonight from AM 570 Los Angeles talking Lakers and Bronny James. A really rough start anyway in Summer League. So I wanted to ask you about the situation with Jaylen Brown. This just hit the deal today. Jaylen Brown's watching Summer League in Vegas, and he was caught, people read his lips. He said to his friend there on the court side, I don't think Bronny's a pro. Jaylen's getting hit hard on that. I think he's just talking privately. What should we think of that?
I mean, he is talking. Well, unfortunately, this is where the situation is nowadays in life. If you are a public figure and you're sitting at a basketball game or at some sort of event, just always assume that a camera is going to be on you. So, and we have professional lip readers nowadays. They're going to interpret everything and anything that you say or do. So Jaylen Brown should know better from that standpoint. Was it a private conversation he was having with Angel Reese and others? Sure. And look, there's a lot of people that are going to take the observations of an NBA veteran and NBA champion to heart, and I certainly understand his notion. And look, there are scouts that agree with him, but there are scouts and other players that disagree with that notion as well. So Jaylen Brown has a right to his opinion, but ultimately it's all going to fall in the lap of a couple of people, Bronny James and the Lakers and J.J. Redick and this quote-unquote exemplary production system or this new development system that they're implementing. Ultimately, if he develops into the player that they think he can be, I think Brian is actually going to have a bit of a chip on his shoulder and try to prove the doubters wrong. It's really weird, Nate. I was thinking about this earlier, that of all people, Bronny James might actually turn into a sympathetic figure of sorts. Because despite the fact that LeBron James is his father and he got this unprecedented opportunity, like I mentioned earlier, he almost died, had a congenital heart issue, was seen by a lot of people as someone who only got opportunities because of his name and not because of his individual talent. He, to a certain degree, Nate, is kind of like an underdog of sorts. 56th pick in the second round. Nobody said you'd amount to much at the NBA level. If he actually puts in the work and turns into a productive player, I think he can actually be seen as a bit of a redemption story and as a bit of a story for people to say, hey, a lot of people were hating on me. A lot of people didn't really think that I'd be able to do all that much. And I was able to take advantage of an opportunity that I received and be able to soar.
Kevin Figures on tonight. Couple more. I'll let him run. AM 570 Los Angeles. He's on Twitter X at KFig1. Doug Gottlieb on Fox Sports Radio. We've had Doug on the show. He's now at Green Bay coaching and doing his show here. He's taking a little heat. He said Bronny James probably wouldn't start for me. You think that's fair?
Well, I won't pretend to know the roster dynamics at Wisconsin Green Bay. So Doug is very opinionated. Doug has said a lot. I know Doug, and he said a lot of things that I don't necessarily agree with. But look, as a talking head, you're entitled to that opinion, and as a coach of a Division I men's basketball program, you're entitled to your opinion as well. Whether he feels that Bronny James would qualify as a good player for his Milwaukee, Wisconsin team, I guess that's up to his own opinion. I don't know that I can't speak to that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Got a scholarship to USC. He was a productive player, or he was projected to be a productive player at that level had he stayed and developed. So I'll leave Doug to his own opinions when it comes to that. I can't thoroughly evaluate the Wisconsin-Milwaukee roster, so I probably really am not qualified to speak on it.
All right, that's fair, Kevin Figures. I asked my audience today, after his struggle starting Summer League, this kind of goes to what you were just saying, do you feel sorry at all for Bronny James? I knew what people were going to say, but I wanted to see if there's anybody thinking he has all the pressure, his dad wanted him to come in and do it. I mean, this is a political thing. It's really big. Do you feel sorry at all for Bronny James? What do you say?
And maybe it's semantics, Nate. I don't feel sorry for him because, look, he can flame out tomorrow and be a bust or whatever. He's going to end up being fine. He can end up going to whatever business sector. He can start his own business. He can work for LeBron James' production company. Ultimately, in life, Bronny's going to end up being fine. I have sympathy for him to a certain degree because he didn't ask for any of this. He's just a kid trying to play basketball, trying to make a career out of something that he's grown up doing and loving. So from that standpoint, all of the attention that's been brought on, whether it's from LeBron or Rich Paul or the media or a combination of all of them, he didn't ask for that. All he ever wanted to do was play basketball. So I have sympathy to a certain degree for that. But I don't necessarily feel sorry for him because, again, he's going to end up landing on his feet regardless of what happens with his NBA career.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that. Kevin Figures on tonight. Kevin, last one. Do you think he will be playing with the Lakers? Jaylen Brown said, I don't think he's a pro, but I think they're going to put him on the Lakers, not G League. You think he's going to play with the Lakers in October?
Well, I did hear J.J. Redick in an interview yesterday, and he said that he's going to spend some time with the Lakers. He's going to spend a lot of time with the G League team. Now, he didn't say whether that's this year, moving forward, what the situation is. Look, he signed a guaranteed 4-year contract. That's not a two-way deal. That was a big deal for Rich Paul, saying whoever drafts him, he's not signing a two-way contract. He's signing a guaranteed NBA contract. So, look, he's going to be with the Lakers for at least the next 4 seasons. Whether or not he spends most of that time with the G League roster this year, which I think he will, or some with the big team, I think he's ultimately going to be put in whatever J.J. Redick's development system is going to look like. And ultimately, I think, and I'm talking myself into this right now as I'm speaking, I think he's going to end up spending the majority of the season with the G League team, if for no other reason, so he can just get playing time. He's going to develop much more in real game situations, even if it's against lesser competition, than riding the end of the bench with the Lakers, knowing that they use a lot of their practice time to get their veterans and their actual rotation players ready to play that game the next night. So this season, at least, Nate, I think he's going to spend the great majority of his time playing in the G League. 2 years from now, we'll have to wait and see how that development looks like.
Great breakdown from L.A. He's on AM 570 and, of course, Fox Sports Radio. Kevin Figures on tonight. Kevin, good to have you. Thanks for popping in.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it, man. Have a good night.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on. Kevin Figures, great stuff. AM 570 Los Angeles and Fox Sports Radio. KFig1 on Twitter X. Kevin Figures in L.A. All right. After his struggles during the Summer League here, do you have any sympathy for Bronny James? That's one of our questions. Do you have any sympathy for Bronny James? 84% of you say no. Welcome to the NBA. I knew that's how that was going to go. 16% of you say yes. I do feel bad for the kid. I do feel bad for the kid. We're so harsh these days. So harsh. I know I'm not like a Bronny James fan, guys. I'm not a LeBron fan. I'm not a Bronny James fan. He hasn't done anything for me to be a fan or not. He had more fouls than points the other day. So, I mean, it's. I said it shouldn't have happened. This thing should not have happened. But it wasn't Bronny's fault. That's what I mean. Thanks for calling. You're live today, and you go ahead.
Hey, Nate. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. What do you say?
Hey, well, there's a couple things. So, y'all are really trying to turn Bronny into a baby face over here, and I don't agree with it.
A baby face? Okay.
Yeah, it's a wrestling term, like heel, baby face, like the good guy versus the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
So, trying to turn him into a sympathetic figure, whatever, right? He should, like you say, he shouldn't be there.
I said he shouldn't be, but we don't have to pick on him. I mean,
right. So here's my I'm trying to take a diplomatic approach to this. So his dad wanted to play with him. He probably wanted to play with his dad, right? That's the motive behind the whole thing, right? They want to be playing on the same team at the same time. But Kevin just said, guy needs time to develop. That's what college is for.
Yes.
That's why you stay there. But to be fair, maybe LeBron and Bronny and whoever else didn't really have faith in the USC program to develop him. So, we got to get him out of there, get him into the G League, and develop him there. These have a better chance at being what he could be.
Oh.
That might be part of the motivation.
Well, now you're so nice now. I mean, boy, that's nice. Let's get him into the G League and give him a guaranteed contract. Yeah, that's nice.
Hey, now you're putting words in my mouth. That was the next thing I was going to say. He should not have a guaranteed contract.
No, that's ridiculous.
That's where he loses me.
All right. I don't feel. I'm not going to cry over it, McJudgerson, but I just kind of feel a little sympathetic for. Man, there's a target on him, and he really hasn't done anything wrong per se.
Well, besides taking the contract, but anyway, whatever. But also back to your point about like college athletes coming out too early,
college football players. Yeah. So this next year we're having the playoff, right? And Dabo Swinney said you're going to have players that aren't in the playoff midway through the year just bail.
Right, and I think. Have you ever heard of IMG Academy down in Florida?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, so they're like I looked up their bio and it says they're a quote unquote boarding school. Okay, so you go there and you have your school, but the focus is sports and you get a whole room and board. It's like college for high school, right? I really, really, really think, and I've said this on your show before, that college sports, not all college sports, but football, basketball for sure, need to go towards the European Soccer Academy model. Like the kids that are in high, like you say, you don't want kids ruining their last year of high school. Like kids that are that good should be in an academy somewhere that's focused on football. So, like, I firmly believe that there needs to be some academy system for both basketball and football, so these kids can develop and not have to do this stuff that Bronny and LeBron are doing in order to reach their full potential.
Yeah, you've been on that. Okay. IMG style. IMG style.
Yeah, there needs to be more IMGs, is what I'm saying.
I appreciate it, buddy.
Anyway, have a good night, buddy.
All right, thanks a lot. McJudgerson in tonight on a Tuesday. All right, into the drive at 5. How about we do our NFL preview? We've been around a lot of markets. Today, the insider is from Dallas. It's a Cowboys day on the Nate Brown Show. I never thought it would be, but Bobby Belt is in from Dallas. 105.3 The Fan, talking Cowboys next.
From high school to college to the pros, this is the Nate Brown Show on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM Fox Sports Rapid City.
Hi, it's Nate Brown for WeatherTight Exteriors. We all love the warm weather that summer brings to the Black Hills, but with that warm weather, we all know that storms can pop up and do some damage to our homes. That's actually just what happened to me. And when that happens, the company you can count on is WeatherTight Exteriors. They've won Best of the Black Hills 5 years in a row. I'm working with them right now, and I'm 100% satisfied. When it comes to your home, work with someone you can count on. Learn more at weathertight.com. They'll stand behind their work.
As the chief buffet officer here at Pizza Ranch, I get all kinds of buffet questions. Here's one from Cole.
Is there a real cactus in your cactus bread?
Great question, Cole. No, there is no cactus in our cactus bread, just sweet cinnamony streusel. It's on our buffet every day, along with pizza, chicken, ice cream, and all your other favorites. Even better, at least for your parents, kids eat free on Tuesday nights. And don't worry, Cole, there's no coal in our coleslaw either.
Pizza Ranch with 2 Rapid City locations and pizzaranch.com.
Pops Tire Service is your low-price headquarters for all major tire brands. We buy tires manufactured direct and sell to you for less. Right now, get up to $265 in rebates on Goodyear, up to $160 in rebates on Bridgestone, or up to $150 in rebates on Firestone. Pops Tire won't be undersold. Hurry, offers end July 31st. See store for details. Visit us online at pompstire.com. Pomps, we know tires and service. You should know Pomps.
Hey, this is Rob Parker from The Odd Couple. Don't miss our show weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. right here on Fox Sports Rapid City. And now we'll send you back to Rapid City Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show.
All right, welcome back in on a Tuesday. The Nate Brown Show is live, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. A lot of ways you can listen. 106.7 FM, 1150 AM on the Black Hills, on the radio, foxsportsrapidcity.com. Live stream us on your phone. Brand new online player, foxsportsrapidcity.com. And we are also streaming on X right now, at Nate Brown Show. Watch the show live 4 to 6. We're jumping around the NFL. We've been to a lot of markets, but I said, we got to get here. Let's get a guy that knows the Dallas Cowboys. And we're lucky to have him. I appreciate him hopping on. So it's time to go hop around NFL markets tonight. Dallas, 105.3 The Fan. It's Bobby Belt. You can find him on Twitter, X, Cowboy fans. We get a lot of Cowboy fans text into the show. Bobby Belt TX. Bobby Belt TX. Bobby, good to have you on Fox Sports Rapid City. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for hopping on, man. So There's a lot of talk about the Cowboys, even up here in Rapid City, South Dakota. So have you ever been on in Rapid City, South Dakota? That's my first question.
That's a good question. I don't know if I've been on in Rapid City specifically. I know I've done South Dakota before.
Oh, okay.
But I can't recall. I don't think it was Rapid City, though. But no, this is, look, they're a national brand, these Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome in. We're in the Black Hills, right by Mount Rushmore. So now you're good to go. Let me talk to you about a couple of the headlines. I get listener reaction here, and they say, what should the Cowboys do with Dak Prescott? Not right now per se, but what do you say the Cowboys are looking to do with Dak Prescott?
Well, I mean, look, I'm a big believer in Dak Prescott. I'm one of the ones who falls down on that side. And, I mean, in this day and age, it feels like the is Dak good enough debate is just as intense as any political debate that we have in our country right now. And so it's split, and people have their takes, and they are firm with them, and it's either he's the worst quarterback in the NFL or he's, one of the three best. And so I'm a big fan of Dak Prescott. I think most of the people in the Cowboys organization really believe in him. I'm sure there are a few people along the chain of command who just have their questions because it hasn't gotten done to this point. We're entering year 9, and it hasn't progressed any further than the Cowboys have gone any of the last 30 seasons. And so I think there are questions for some people. I think the vast majority of the organization believes in him, thinks he can get it done, thinks they can win a Super Bowl with him. And now it's just a matter of figuring out the contract situation and trying to make something work.
Bobby Belt on Talking Cowboys. He covers in 105.3 The Fan, Dallas-Fort Worth sports station. So does it matter to you how much that money is? People say, well, $45 million's fine, but $55 million's not.
I mean, look, I think that we're splitting hairs a little bit. It's something where the quarterback market has become somewhat inelastic. Like, somebody's always going to pay the price, and that price is always going up. And it doesn't seem to affect the demand for it the way it has at other positions over the years. Running back ran into that. Safeties went through a lull like that at one point. Quarterback is not that position. And so, to me, I think, look, when people hear the number $60 million annually, they kind of have sticker shock from that a little bit. But, I mean, there was once sticker shock at the idea of 40. And that is, 40 is the new 20. And it's something where you've got a situation where Dak Prescott, getting that $40 million just a few years ago, he's now outside the top 10 and highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. So it's this never-ending cycle kind of resetting things. And so, to me, I'm always of the belief that you get the deal done as early as you can, finish it, pay as low a price as you can, and the market will reset itself, and your deal will look like a deal in 2 years. And so I don't think it matters so much to get caught up in $5 million extra here or wherever else. And I think that there's a difference between calling something $60 million or $55 million and then the reality of what the contract actually is because of guaranteed money or other aspects of it. But for me, I think I would do it at $60 million even annually. I would do it because I think you always pay the franchise quarterback. I think you always try your best to avoid that purgatory.
NFL Insider Previews hopping around the markets, and we're in Dallas with 105.3 The Fans, Bobby Belt. Find him on Twitter X. Follow him, Cowboy fans, at Bobby Belt TX. So speaking of money, CeeDee Lamb, great player. Justin Jefferson just got the number 1 deal for a wide receiver. Is CeeDee Lamb as good?
It's not right now. But, when we all talk about league-wide, when we look at the quarterback position, for instance, I think everybody universally says Patrick Mahomes, that's the guy. He's the standard. There's nobody in the league right now that is going to challenge his crown over the next few years as the best quarterback in football. I think it's similar with Justin Jefferson in that we say that's clearly the best receiver in football is Justin Jefferson, but I don't know that there's the ironclad, there's no one that could potentially overtake him in the next couple of years. And I think CeeDee Lamb is just one of those guys that would be in the discussion. I absolutely think that's Justin Jefferson's crown for right now. He very well may hold on to it over the next couple of years, but CeeDee Lamb has just progressed and gotten better every single year along the way. And every year he comes back and has fixed or improved something. And not just, with his technique or his approach. I mean, we're talking about he works on things as simple as his media presence in the locker room, which is very important here in Dallas, is to make sure that you're not causing waves, you're not saying the wrong things. I think he works very hard on being a better teammate, improving his releases at the line of scrimmage. CD has always said, where am I deficient? I'm going to attack that. I'm going to get better at it. And he's shown a history of doing it every single time. So to me, out of all the potential contracts that the Cowboys have to pay, the easiest one for me, without a question, would be CeeDee Lamb's. Just get that deal done. I don't think he wants Justin Jefferson's money, but he probably wants to come in right below it. He probably wants right around $35 million a year. And to me, he is so valuable in terms of what he does on the field and has become such a big tone setter for them emotionally and has become such a great locker room presence that, to me, there's no questions remaining about him that you would be hung up about paying him.
Here's the thing, and you said money gets moved around, guaranteed money, and it all matters. How do they make this work? Can they make a Dak Prescott deal and a CeeDee Lamb deal work?
Yeah, I think you can. The question then becomes, can you make a Dak Prescott and a CeeDee Lamb and a Micah Parsons deal work?
Right.
How much does the cap explode? How long do they feel like they can put off certain deals? The Cowboys have flipped a lot of switches in recent years, and it's time to pay the piper. And they've hit that this year where they're really tight. That's why they didn't get involved heavily in free agency. So it feels like they've sat back and kind of let things settle down a little bit and taking a deep breath before attacking some of these contracts. But now you're facing the prospects of CeeDee Lamb not being there when you enter training camp here in less than 10 days. Dak Prescott, if you allow him to hit the open market next year, I don't think he comes back. I don't think he gives you a chance to match it. I think he just says, all right, this is what you get for playing around with this deal. And Micah Parsons was absent from voluntary portions of this offseason program, and that was after he ended last season talking a lot about leadership and the importance of being there. And so they've set themselves up here where they have to start making decisions. You don't want to sit around, kind of twiddle your thumbs and be so caught up in every little dollar and winning every negotiation that you ultimately potentially sour the well on your three biggest deals that need to get done.
Bobby Belts on 105.3 The Fan, Dallas-Fort Worth, talking Cowboys. Couple more quick ones. What do your listeners say about Mike McCarthy? What's the sentiment around him?
Oh, man, you're going to get a lot of split opinions, so probably similar to Dak Prescott. I don't know that it's always uniform. A Dak supporter isn't necessarily going to be a Mike McCarthy supporter, and a Mike McCarthy supporter is not necessarily going to be a Dak Prescott supporter. But I think a lot of people look at it as he's a great culture guy. He sets a great tone. He makes all the guys loose and helps preserve their bodies with their practice schedules. There's not a lot of devastating injuries that stack up as the year goes on. Guys generally feel like they're pretty fresh by the end of the year. And he's won 12 games 3 years in a row. That all has to count for something. The hang-up for a lot of people, I think, including myself a lot of times, is it still feels like it's been underwhelming or underperforming. As good as it's been, and as wild as that sounds, it still feels like they've missed the market times in the regular season too, not just the playoffs, but in the regular season, where maybe that 12-win team could have been a 14-win team and first in the NFC if there would have been some better coaching along the way. So to me, I look at Mike McCarthy as he was brought in here not to win 12 games 3 years in a row. He was brought in here to be different from Jason Garrett, get them farther than Jason Garrett did, and he has done exactly what Jason Garrett did. And so for me, I look at that and say, time has run out for him. The Cowboys have decided to let it go one more year. I would have been in favor of a reset there this offseason, but I think a lot of fans out there absolutely believe in Mike McCarthy and think that he does a good job and that he should be here long term, but he definitely has his critics here.
Your percentage chance that the Cowboys win the NFC East?
Okay, let's see here. They won it last year, and according to the last 20 years of history, nobody wins the NFC East in back-to-back years. So if we're going based off that, it would be 0%. The last time that somebody won back-to-back NFC East titles was during the first Bush administration. Wow. And during Curt Schilling's bloody sock game. That all happened in the same year. So we're talking about a long, long time ago. I just don't know what Philadelphia is going to be, is the thing. That feels like it has, both of these organizations, Philadelphia and Dallas, feel like they have a toxic component to them that can go sideways very easily. I don't know that I'd be surprised if either one of them was a 13-win team, and I don't know that I'd be surprised if either one of them finished below 500, because things just become toxic with people worrying about their jobs, whether that's Nick Sirianni in Philly or Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy here in Dallas. And so I would lean right now towards Philly because I just think there are too many potential toxic components that the Cowboys are going to have to sidestep, and I don't know that I trust that they're going to hit that with a 100% rate. So right now I would lean towards Philadelphia, but nothing would really surprise me in this division.
Bobby Belt in tonight. Quality, 105.3 The Fan. Dallas-Fort Worth. He's on Twitter X. Follow him, Cowboy fans here in South Dakota. Bobby Belt TX. Bobby, good to have you, man. Thanks for hopping on.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate your time. Bobby Belt covers the Cowboys. Part of our NFL Insider preview in every market. We're going to go to every market. We've been to a lot. Going to continue it. Now Dallas Cowboys preview on the Nate Brown Show. That was good stuff. 105.3 The Fan covers the Cowboys. Bobby Belt live from Dallas-Fort Worth. He leans Eagles in the NFC East. Okay, I've got a headline here out of College Sports. You know how they're thinking about having revenue share. So if they, keep moving along here and you're going to revenue share with the athletes, what does some judges say about how that revenue share would go with the athletes? Who would all get this revenue share? Well, this is interesting next.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City.
Santa in the pool? Oh my. Renewal by Anderson's incredible Christmas in July 2024 event is so great that even Santa is shocked. 20% off, no money down, no interest, no payments for 18 months. No payments until 2026. Windows, patio, and entry doors from Renewal by Anderson. And Renewal's Acclaim and Ensemble lines are the best of the best. Imagine no payments until 26. Please visit RBARapidCity.com now. It's Christmas in July at Renewal by Anderson. It's so good even Santa is shocked.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Mechanical.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Nearly 100 new GMCs in stock and on the way at Spearfish GMC. Sierra 1500 Denali AT4 SLT and Elevation Edition all in stock. 2500 and 3500 HDs starting at around $55,000. Acadias and Terrain starting at $38,300. 5 Hummer EVs in stock and on the way, including the exclusive Omega Limited Edition. We've got trucks. Spearfish GMC Cadillac online at spearfishmotors.com.
Do you have a financial game plan for your life? Hi, this is Lee Cruz, your local trusted New York Life agent here in Rapid City. My passion is helping you put the pieces in place for your family to make sure your game plan is a success. For over 175 years, New York Life has been helping people like yourself take action in securing their future. Don't wait, take action and Google Lee Cruz New York Life or call 605-360-8804. We will work together on putting your family first.
Hi, it's Colin Coward. Great to be in the Black Hills. Getting heard weekdays 10 to 1 on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports.
Welcome back in. Tuesday edition of South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on 106.7 FM, 1150 AM. Stream us all the time. FoxSportsRapidCity.com. Brand new online player. So you got Dan in the morning, Colin Cowherd, Doug Gottlieb, the Nate Brown Show 4 to 6 at FoxSportsRapidCity.com. This show live on X, Twitter. Stream us on your phone, however you want to there at Nate Brown Show. Follow us and stream the show live at Nate Brown Show. You can watch us 4 to 6 on X, Twitter. Good to be there. Drive at 5 featuring Mike Golick Jr. Hang on. College football analyst, national host Mike Golick Jr. on the way. Drive at 5 is brought to you by Summit Automotive Group. When it comes to pre-owned vehicles, the selection's great right now. Take a look. Cars, trucks, SUVs. SummitAutoGRP.com. Experience the Summit difference. Car buying built around you. It's different at Summit. Start at SummitAutoGRP.com. None of the high-pressure sales gimmicky stuff. Just quality. Okay, I got to get into this before I get to Mike Golick Jr. here on the program. So we got a couple of college sports stories that are really interesting. And, you know, it's summer. People are talking about this, that. These are kind of getting buried. I find them really interesting. So this just came out today that the U.S. Department of Education, federal enforcer, do they have a federal enforcer? Federal enforcer of Title IX. You all know what Title IX is. That's men's and women's sports. That's equal treatment, Kay. And it goes it's very broad language. Broad language in the college landscape of Title IX. You got to have the same amount of sports. It's tied to male and enrollment. And I mean, it's very convoluted. Imagine that. But very convoluted. And it's all about equal opportunities and the whole thing. So I'm not getting into a political debate of, Title IX. It's not that. Title IX is about college sports, men's and women's access to it. Because as we all know, women haven't had the same access to sports and the whole thing. I mean, it's a long story, right? So there's a federal enforcer of Title IX. They just came out and said if college sports goes through this change where there is revenue sharing with the athletes, that's kind of what people have talked about over the past few months here. If there is change where the athletes are getting more of the pie from these TV media contracts and all of this money that flows into college sports and the conferences, if there's revenue sharing with the athletes, how is that going to go with Title IX? I've asked that question on this show, and I've asked it with guests on the show. Everyone's like, well, I think you're going to have to figure that out because Title IX's a federal law, I mean, the whole thing. So how are they going to do that? Well, today we get a little glimpse. Today, the federal enforcer of gender equity in sports said the Title IX rules will apply if there's future revenue dollars that schools share with college athletes. So Title IX rules will apply to future revenue sharing with college athletes. They did not get into, here's guidance on how you should do this to the women's sports. So what that means is football feeds the bulldog for everybody, and football's not just going to be able to revenue share with their football players. Okay? Football's going to have to revenue share equally with the Title IX compliance. That's usually how that goes. Title IX's about equal sports offered and the whole thing. So if you're revenue sharing, the federal enforcer said today for Title IX, schools must provide equal athletic opportunities based on sex, including with respect to benefits. So I'm a football program at Alabama. We're feeding the bulldog for everybody. Essentially, they're already helping. Nobody wants to talk about this. Football at Alabama is already paying for everything anyway. No, nobody wants to admit that. Well, what do you mean? Football at Alabama is paying for everything anyway. And so what people are going to say now, if you go down this revenue sharing model, the revenue sharing that football makes, and football's the thing that's getting the media deals. They're the ones that are getting the money. They're going to have to share that with all of the programs is what this sounds like to me. Give me a break. The cross-country program is going to get how much from football? However this plays out, that's what the Title IX situation is saying. It's going to have to be equal, not football gets all of the money now from the media deals. So it's a quite a change, but I do want to tell you, football anyway feeds the bulldog anyway, the athletic budget bulldog. I mean, you're not having cross country pay for itself. Okay, football's already paying for it, and now some people say, well, if football's making the money, if that's the business that's making the money, why do they have to send money out to these other sports? Well, here's the deal: if they didn't, then you wouldn't have those sports. So which is it? Do we want the sports, or you just want to have football and basketball and call it good? So Title IX is going to say you got to share the revenue if the future revenue sharing model comes into play. I'll ask Mike Golic Jr. about it. We'll start there and more. College football analyst and host of Gojo and Golic on DraftKings. Mike Golic Jr., great guest, up next.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show. Follow us and watch the show live on Twitter at Nate Brown Show.
It's baseball season, and the best place in Deadwood to bet on baseball is at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort. Watch all your favorite games in our comfortable and spacious BetMGM Sports Lounge with wall-to-wall television arrays. Come in today and learn how you can run the bases to earn resort credit, free play, and a chance at the World Series Grand Prize drawing. Make a qualifying baseball bet and fill your Run the Bases punch card for your chance to win. Play, watch, and win at South Dakota's #1 sportsbook located at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort, where it's always game on.
White or wheat, classic or old-fashioned, with or without sesame seed. With so many choices, selecting the right bun for your perfectly grilled burgers, hot dogs, and brats can seem overwhelming. Relax. The bakers at Village Hearth have made your choice easy. With state-of-the-art bakeries and facilities throughout the Midwest, our buns are baked and delivered by folks just like you. So when you see the familiar red Village Hearth logo on the package, you'll be selecting the freshest, most flavorful buns available. Village Hearth buns, baked locally, delivered fresh daily.
Hi, it's Nate Brown for Black Hills Community Bank. If you run your own company or you're looking to start a small business here in the Black Hills, you want to make sure you choose the right banking partner, and I know the right choice for business is Black Hills Community Bank. They have plenty of banking options to suit your specific needs, and Black Hills Community Bank is here to help business owners thrive and to make sure you have the support and tools to help your business grow. Just contact one of their business loan experts today or visit bhcbank.com. Member FDIC.
In the past, if you needed auto body repair, you had to get multiple estimates and then try to get your car into a shop for repair. Well, not anymore. In most cases, you can stop by one shop, get your estimate, and schedule your car for a repair. The question now becomes which shop you choose. If you like quality, choose J&J Truck and Auto Body. They have ASE, PPG, and Gold iCar certifications that allow them to offer you a nationwide warranty. And they'll work with your insurance company so you're pleased with the outcome. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
Live from the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Details Studio. Sales, service, and recreation. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
Welcome back in. South Dakota Sports Talk Show, your sports, your show, the Nate Brown Show live. Thanks for being here. Appreciate your listening, however long you spend with us. If you catch us live, great. 4 o'clock hour, 5 o'clock hour. Remember, if you can't catch some of the interviews, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. We did our NFL Insider previews. We're jumping around every NFL market trying to get on an insider from every team. Today was Bobby Belt, Dallas Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan, a Cowboys Day on the Nate Brown Show. If you missed that, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. Every show there, search The Nate Brown Show, and you've got us on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcast. Search The Nate Brown Show, and you've got this show. Mike Golic Jr.'s on, college football analyst. His show, Gojo and Golic, DraftKings. Mike Golic Jr. on Twitter X. Mike, good to have you back on. How are you?
Doing well. Appreciate you having me, Nate.
Okay, I gotta tell you this. You came to my mind. I went to Las Vegas. Went and watched the Las Vegas Aces and against the Fever, Caitlin Clark. Great experience, great crowd. Afterwards, we went to the Hershey store, okay, and took my kids in there. There's every kind of candy. There's every kind of bizarre Kit Kat, bizarre flavor, and you're the guy that tries all of this bizarre stuff, and you were first on my mind. How do you feel?
Honored. You spend your whole life working towards something, and originally in my life, I thought it was to be a great football player, and I got pretty far in that, but not as far as I wanted to. So I moved on to trying to be a great broadcaster and realized, okay, I could be pretty good at all this. But then I, for the first time, picked up a camera phone and filmed myself eating candy and saw the reaction and realized, no, this is, in fact, what I'm put on this earth to do. So it's nice to be now received and responded for the thing that I am most built for in this life, is reviewing candy and being the guy that comes to mind. So thanks for that compliment.
Respect. I did not get one of the bizarre candies, but nonetheless, we're off and running. Let me ask you about a couple of things here on the college football side. So Dabo Swinney just said this. He said with the 12-team playoff, there's going to be an emphasis on it. That's all people are going to care about is being in the 12-team playoff. So he said, I'm worried about kids that don't make it. They see it midway through the year. So now I'm going to opt out. And he said, prospects will just opt out, or teams that know they're in it, the Ohio States, they're not going to play their guys the last 2 or 3 weeks. What do you say? Do I have you?
That we see in some way, shape, or form around professional football all the time, right? Whether it's something mimicking the trade deadline where bad teams end up selling off players and good teams end up scooping them up. We see guys having the rest versus rust debate at the end of those seasons all the time. So, yeah, I'm not surprised some of those same sentiments will leak their way into college football. And it's one of those things, you were always going to be damned if you do, damned if you don't, because the whole argument that a lot of people made for college football playoff expansion is, well, if you've got 12 games that matter, or 14 games that matter, in quotes, obviously, then you'll have more kids that are going to want to stick around and not opt out for these bowl games that were quote-unquote meaningless. And so I think no matter what, someone was going to find a way to be upset about it, and because it's change-oriented, Dabo seems to be upset about it because we know he likes things the way they were.
Okay, interesting stuff. We'll see if that happens. Do you think that will happen, Mike? I mean, so do you agree that you are going to see more players do that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to keep changing shape because players are responding to new stimuli, just like coaches are responding to new stimuli. So if you told me it played out exactly as Dabo said it would, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think that makes the product better or worse, though, because, again, there are plenty of people that didn't like the current way things are going, where you only had 4 teams that knew they were making the playoff, and you only had 4 teams full of players that felt like they needed to opt in for these bowl games if they had options. So someone was always going to feel like they were left out here, and that doesn't make me feel any better or worse about it.
Mike Golic Jr. on his show, Gojo and Golic on DraftKings. Let me ask you about this as well. Title IX federal enforcer. I didn't know there was such a thing, but federal enforcer of Title IX rules says if there's revenue sharing moving forward in college sports, if there's revenue sharing, Title IX rules will apply. I'm not surprised by it, but what that means is if football's getting all the money from the media deals and there's a revenue share, that's going to have to be split out equally. What do you say? How are departments going to deal with that?
Creatively. If there's one thing we know, people that have lots of money are pretty good at finding clever ways of getting it to the people that they want to. And however it ends up looking, and I'm not nearly smart enough to come up with that system, but however it ends up looking, rest assured, you're going to see plenty of players, high-level players in, let's say, women's basketball right now, a sport that's got considerable momentum, that just saw a massive boost of the star power in that league and a bunch of young freshmen that have come in to take up their mantle now. I'm sure plenty of those players will secure pretty lucrative deals that outpay some of their teammates, much the same way that a highly sought-after quarterback is still going to somehow fetch more than all of them. Again, Title IX is a well-intentioned rule. It is something that I still believe in some way, shape, or form is necessary for securing opportunities around college sports. But now that we've essentially ushered in some version of pay-for-play, I do think the market is eventually still going to give us advantages for people whose skill set is deemed more valuable.
Okay, last one on the legal side of stuff. A court said college athletes whose efforts benefit their schools may qualify as employees. So this is another one of those cases, and there's a bunch out there. So this is the latest one. They could deserve pay under federal wage and hour laws. This group, Mike said, well, yeah, we're seeking, hourly wages if we're an athlete. If I'm not a starter or not, I have to spend a lot of time. That's my job. We should get paid like work-study kids. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're all, even in the new system of college football that's being proposed right now, and even in these worlds where you have high-ranking college football officials saying, well, yeah, we want to do a revenue share, but they're not employees, are all lying to themselves and lying to us, quite frankly. We know that's an employer-employee relationship when you decide to divvy it up like that. So, yeah, that would absolutely be fair because he's right. They're absolutely being asked to do a job, much like the other students on campus that he mentioned. That was always an argument my good friend Jason Phipps, former fiddle player in the band Perry and a lifetime musician, always said is the musicians on campus are not stopped from earning. When any other student goes and has an opportunity like this, they're allowed to earn while they're in school, and the fact that athletes have been stopped from doing that for so long has always been something that didn't sit right with a lot of people.
Mike Golic Jr. in tonight on the Nate Brown Show. Gojo and Golic, his show on DraftKings. Follow him on X, Twitter at Mike Golic Jr. SEC Media Days, Mike. So here's the new SEC. Do you think Texas is a real factor in there with the Georges?
I think they've got a chance to be, right? Anytime you return play caller, the majority of your coaching staff, and a star quarterback, you've got a really good shot. Now, when it comes to Texas versus a team like Georgia, Texas did lose basically their entire wide receiver room, a host of high-round draft picks. They've got better along the lines of scrimmage, although defensively, you lost two of your best players on that side of the football as well in an area you had massively improved on. So there are some hurdles they're going to have to clear. They wouldn't be the favorite, in my mind, over a team like Georgia, but they're absolutely walking in as one of the upper-tier SEC teams already.
How tough of a job is it for South Dakota native Kalen DeBoer taking over at Alabama?
It is daunting in a lot of ways. I think shying away from that would be, foolish at this point, because everyone knows you're walking in and trying to fill the shoes of the greatest college football coach of all time. The advantage that Kalen DeBoer does have, though, is he knows himself. He's mature enough in his coaching life cycle and has been around and has won in enough stops to understand exactly who he is. And that includes some new experience doing this at a high-powered D1 school like Washington in the new landscape of name, image, and likeness in the transfer portal. Now, it's going to still change drastically going to Alabama, but you're not going to catch Kalen DeBoer trying to be Nick Saban the way maybe a younger coach who is making that jump from coordinator to head coach for the first time might do, or just a younger head coach in general. But I think someone with Kalen DeBoer's seasoning, with Kalen DeBoer's reputation around the sport already, and with his experience, is going to walk into that situation and have the best shot you possibly could because he's very comfortable in his own skin.
Does the 12-team playoff actually help a guy like DeBoer, meaning I know you want to be top four, like you want to be in the top. Does it help DeBoer? That's a pretty long leash there. It's not like they're going to miss the playoff.
No, they're certainly not. I still do think the standard at Alabama is a little bit differently, and these fans have been eating caviar for a while. The administration's been eating caviar for a while, and so even if you ask them to have filet mignon or something a little further down the pipeline, they're still going to notice a difference in the taste. But that being said, I have wondered for a while now if the expanded playoff would save some coaches their jobs. Because like you said, being able to say, I am a college football playoff head coach, I have taken my team here, we get to put the banner or the sticker or the decal up in our facility somewhere, I do wonder if that is going to be enough to save some coaches their jobs when we know the margins for so long were so thin because it was that exclusive club before, and I think that absolutely could be the case.
Okay, last one, Mike Golic Jr. I haven't seen any of this, so I want to know where you're at on EA Sports College Football 25. I mean, are you in on this?
I am in on this, and I can tell you after a couple of days of dutifully playing this game, man, oh man, is it harder than I remember. And I talked to Matt Brown, who does a great job writing the Extra Points newsletter, who has covered and researched this game in the lead up to it ad nauseum, knows it front to back and got to play it even earlier. And he said, the gameplay controls are harder. It does reward actual football knowledge and dexterity a lot more. And so he said, be prepared to stink at it for a little while. And I got to tell you, as I'm in my dynasty season with UTSA right now, and my quarterback just threw 5 picks in the last game versus Tulsa we gave away in the fourth quarter, I'm not feeling all that good. All of a sudden, I have a lot more empathy for all my former coaches and what they had to put up with, because right now my team does not value the football, and that is really driving me up a wall.
UTSA dynasty with Mike Golic Jr. I mean, explain that. UTSA?
Oh, yeah, listen, the real code of honor amongst game players, especially when it comes to a game like EA Sports, the old NCAA games, is I can't go in there and just pick some blue blood Power 5 team. I can't be the guy that goes in there and tries to bring Georgia to glory. They've already got glory. What I need to do is take the Roadrunners on a path while I'm the offensive coordinator. Rock Hoover, you get to create your own coordinator. You can create your own spot in the journey. You can start from the player side or the coach's side, and then you try and build up from there. And what fun is it to start at the top? I want to grind, and the game gives you the opportunity to do that. So it's been a ton of fun, and it's easy to get lost into. I can see why we all miss this so much.
Mike Golic Jr., a.k.a. Rock Hoover. I like it. Gojo and Golic is his show. Great to have him. Watch him. Find him at Mike Golic Jr. on X. Mike, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Nate. Appreciate
your time. Mike Golic Jr., one of the best. Great stuff. UTSA dynasty, Texas San Antonio dynasty. I wouldn't even admit that. He goes, I mean, come on, Mike. Go with Wyoming or somebody like that. UTSA. And we had Thor Nystrom. It must be a code of honor. We had Thor Nystrom on earlier, college football analyst for Fantasy Life. He's starting a dynasty with Hawaii. And Mike Golick Jr., UTSA. Matt Kearney has not started his dynasty yet. He says he likes creating, the custom teams. Like you can create your team. South Dakota State, for example, not in the game, but you can now create that team. I don't like that. I don't like creating teams. School of Mines, Black Hill State. I'll leave that up to Kearney, and that's some good content. We'll see who he creates. Who's he going to create first? There's the next question of the day. Okay, let's go with Kelvin Torvey tonight. Busy show on a Tuesday, the Nate Brown Show live, driven by Spearfish Motors. Your home for the new 2024 GMCs and Cadillacs in the Black Hills. Start at SpearfishMotors.com. They do a great job. I'm telling you, the selection's really good. The new Terrains, the new Canyons, Yukons, they're all there. GMC Sierra pickups the best. Locally owned. Spearfish Motors. Spearfish GMC Cadillac. Start at SpearfishMotors.com. Kelvin Torvey, post 22, goes to the Gopher Classic. A little switcheroo. One team does really, really well. The Expos. What does Coach Torvey have to say? He's on his way back. He'll join us live next.
You're listening to the Nate Brown.
Santa in the pool? Oh my. Renewal by Anderson's incredible Christmas in July 2024 event is so great that even Santa is shocked. 20% off, no money down, no interest, no payments for 18 months. No payments until 2026. Windows, patio, and entry doors from Renewal by Anderson. And Renewal's Acclaim and Ensemble lines are the best of the best. Imagine no payments until 26. Please visit RBARapidCity.com now. It's Christmas in July at Renewal by Anderson. It's so good even Santa is shocked.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
And PizzaRanch.com.
Whether you run the race, make the catch, cast a line, pitch a tent, or just look good doing it, Shields Rapid City has your gear. From athletic clothing from your favorite team, cold weather gear to keep you warm, to the best camping selection this side of the Black Hills, and the most stylish and functional women's outerwear and footwear. Shields has the widest selection of the best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields, we're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
Ever since Barron's Wilson Funeral Home first opened their doors in Rapid City 140 years ago, they have continued to make personal service their number one priority. In your time of grief, they offer a personal touch by being at your side through every step of the funeral process. They answer difficult questions and guide you toward other professional services you may need. See for yourself the wide variety of services they can provide for you by visiting their website at barronswilson.com.
Remember when life was simple? Nope, me neither. The summer sun may feel great to us, but summer heat takes its toll on your vehicle. Don't risk your family's vacation fun by ignoring vehicle maintenance. When it comes to your vehicle maintenance or repair, keeping it simple is easy. The ASE certified technicians at Al's D&I can make sure your car is in top running condition. Maintenance now or fix it later. Most vehicles, most years, and most countries. Al's D&I can fix them. Check in at Al's D&I on Sturgis Road and online at alsdniautorepair.com.
Hey, it's Chris Broussard. Remember to catch the Odd Couple weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. right here on Fox Sports Rapid City. And now, let's get back to Rapid City Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show.
South Dakota Sports Talk Show live weekdays 4 to 6. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. A reminder, support our sponsors on the station. If you hear them, they make a big difference. Help us cover local sports. I think it matters. There's a lot of media companies now, huge companies. They taking the easy way out. We try and keep it local and appreciate all of our sponsors helping us, and you can help by getting into their businesses, whether it's cars, restaurants, healthcare. Great supporters of local sports on Fox Sports Rapid City. Appreciate everybody being a part of the program. Okay, Post 22 baseball getting set for home series this weekend. A couple of doubleheaders, Sioux Falls West, Sioux Falls East. This weekend we'll have the games for the Hard Hats on Fox Sports Rapid City. Our broadcast team getting ready to go Friday and Saturday from Fitzgerald. Kelvin Torvey's on his way back from the Twin Cities Gopher Classic. And the Expos made a run into semifinals here. I mean, that was something. I'm watching this thing. I have to say, I was a little surprised by it. Maybe I'm out in left field. Hard Hats have had an unbelievable year, and the Expo, it's a really good year. But I don't think I've seen that before. Coach, good to have you back on. How are you?
Nate, I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well.
Well, I'm doing good. Thanks for hopping on. I know you're on your way back. So you give me the perspective there. The Hard Hats go in, didn't play as well in pool play, didn't get out of there and into the semifinals. The Expos run through that, get to the semifinals, good game, just fall to Fargo by a couple of runs. Fargo has a good program, we know that. So if people look at it and say, wait, the Hard Hats were out, the Expos made the run, what do you say about it?
Well, the Hard Hats played pretty well. The last game of the tournament, we did not. The big game was the Manitoba game. We lost 1-0. We played really well. And it's a baseball game. You lose 1-0, and then we split the next two. It was that day we had 3 games in one day. So the day did not end like we wanted. The tournament didn't end like we wanted. But what the Expos did was literally unprecedented. I talked to Jim Peck, who founded the Gopher Classic. I think it was 47 years ago. He said that's the first time a second team from any team had made it to the championship day. And so we're really proud of them. Jace Caldwell had them. It was unbelievable. They were playing hard. They were playing smart. They were competing. And, you know, we're a JV team. The Expos are a JV team, and they're varsity teams. They were much more physical. They were bigger. They were faster. But the Expos didn't care. They went out there, and they got their job done, and they won 2 games in bracket play and barely lost today to Fargo Post 2. So we're really proud of them.
Yeah, that's something. The Expos get into the semifinals. They lost to Fargo today by 2 runs. So I'm going to ask you, Coach, you've had a great year. I'm looking at the record, 48-14 for the Hard Hats. So really, really good. I think I have the Expos at 44-14. What does it tell you about a JV program that's won that much?
Well, it tells a lot that we got, talent in this organization. We're fairly deep. The problem is the American Legion rules, you can only have 18 on the varsity, and our rosters are due June 25th, so these guys are on the JV team, but it didn't bother them. I mean, yeah, they want to be on the varsity, but they still go out there and compete, and they play hard and smart, and so it's fun to watch. I stayed in Minneapolis with them. We sent the varsity home with their parents, and I stayed and watched them play. Nick Ewing and I stayed, and it's just it's very gratifying to see that the culture of Post 22 is such that we can have a JV team that goes out there and does this.
Last one on this stuff with the Expos. A great run at the Gopher Classic. They almost made it into the championship game. You have some guys there that you're probably looking at going, hey, we're going to be able to fill some spots here as we move forward. I know you're focused on this year, but it looks like if the Expos have been that successful, probably a pretty good depth chart next year.
It is, because we got 11 seniors, and so we got a lot of holes to fill next year. But the way these guys played this year, we're going to have some talent coming up. That doesn't guarantee us anything. We still have to go out there and compete the entire season. But it's nice to know that we have guys that have that kind of heart in our organization.
Kelvin Torvey on tonight on his way back from the Gopher Classic. The Expos made a run to the semifinals. That was something. Okay, let's go back to Hard Hats baseball. You sound like you're pretty happy with where your guys are at. Last regular season games already this weekend. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good. We've obviously slowed down, and we talked about this last week when we had a conversation. When you win 21 straight, you lose one, you string off 8 or 9 more. There's going to be a regression there, and I think we're coming through that. We did have a good Gopher. Like I said, the last game of the tournament was disappointing because we just kind of it was the third game of the day, but it's no excuse. You still got to go out there. You still got to compete. But our eyes are on this weekend. We got Sioux Falls East, who's really good, and Sioux Falls West. And, they're in-state games. They're 4 games. We're going to need to play our A game. Right now we're third in the seeding, I think. And so we can't lay an egg this weekend because we don't want to slip any further so we can get a better draw for the tournament.
How does it look? You when I look at the rankings, Sioux Falls East looks like the better team, and so you look at it. Do you know anything about East and West?
No, Sioux Falls East was good last year. We played them down there, and we split with them, and then we swept Sioux Falls West. Yeah, West is down a little bit, but that being said, it doesn't matter. You got to go out and play your A game regardless of who you're playing. East will be they're all important, but East will be tougher because they're a better team, and I think they're 4th in the standings. So if we don't acquit ourselves well this weekend, we might very well, swap spots with them. So we got to be careful.
Okay, Kelvin Torvion tonight. We'll have the games, Sioux Falls East and West, doubleheader Friday, doubleheader Saturday here on Fox Sports Rapid City. Last regular season games. Okay, and I look at it, Coach. How do you feel about, I look at the pitching side. Really good outings as I'm following this, really good ones, and then a down one where you got to score 9 runs to win. How do you feel about the consistency starting-wise?
It's not just pitching, Nate. It's hitting as well. We've been a little inconsistent. We were a little bit inconsistent at the Firecracker and the Gophers. So, we'll get a 7-inning start, and then we'll get a game where we got to score 10 runs to beat 9. But at the same token, Jade Moreno throws a gem against Manitoba, and we don't score. So, we were kind of inconsistent in both areas of the game. Thankfully, our defense has been pretty solid, but we got a week, actually 2 weeks before the state tournament starts or the regionals. So we got to be able to be consistent in all 3 phases if we want to get to where we want to be.
Hard Hats 48-14. Nice season. Last weekend of the regular season is Friday, Saturday here at home. We'll have the games against Sioux Falls East and West. Coach, last one tonight. It's All-Star game. Major League Baseball All-Star game tonight. Is the Major League Baseball All-Star game, Coach, the best All-Star game in pro sports still?
To be honest, I don't know, Nick, because I don't watch any of them. It's just a beauty pageant, and I haven't watched an All-Star game in quite a while.
Is that right?
The Pro Bowl or the NBA All-Star game. It is kind of fun, like the home run contest last night. I saw the end of that. That's kind of cool. But as far as the All-Star game, being a baseball guy, I've got to say yes. But I really not I don't partake, shall we put it that way.
I'm understanding that. By the way, are you okay with organizations pulling guys with no hitters in the 7th inning? 99 pitches, so I understand it, Coach. You got to be smart. Are you okay with baseball doing that?
That is a brutal question. You just don't know, because it brings me back to about 3 or 4 years ago. We were in Mitchell, and Jake Goebel had a no hitter going, and he started getting close to the pitch limit.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, do I take him out and play by the rules, or do I let him go past 105 and just pay whatever penalty, but allow Jake to get a no-hitter? It's a question there is no answer. And, if you get it right, then you're a hero. If you get it wrong, you're a goat. Thankfully, Goebel got it right. He got him out before he got the pitch count. So that's just a question that I've had it a couple times, and I hate to answer it. So there's no good answer. You just got to do what your gut says and your mind says and hope for the best.
Paul Skeens, the pitcher for the Pirates, he's starting the All-Star game tonight. The rookie on the mound tonight coming up. Kelvin Torvey on his way back from the Gopher Classic and in this weekend for home doubleheaders. Coach, good to have you. Good luck this week.
Thanks so much, Ned. I appreciate you.
Thanks for the time. Kelvin Torvey on tonight, talking post-22 baseball. Hard Hats back at home. This is it. Wow. Regular season winding down this weekend. Sioux Falls East and West. Doubleheaders at home. Should be great. And then we'll see where they land for the regionals. So they're going to be home. We know that. But where are they going to land? 3rd, 2nd? Where's that seeding coming down? Matt Kearney, the researcher, having some great coverage of those standings of post-22 baseball and Legion baseball. You look at the standings. So we'll follow it and keep you posted. Hard Hats trying to win 4 this weekend. Coming right back with who's hot and who's not. There's a new sports fan that continues to grow. What are we talking about here? That's on the way.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
The doctors and staff at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center have provided expert bone, joint, and muscle care to patients in the Black Hills area since 1976. Whether you're an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or just want to continue your active lifestyle, the orthopedic experts at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center will help you stay in the game. Don't let an injury keep you from doing the things you love. Trust the team at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. Learn more at bhosc.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Mainly clear tonight with lows around 61. Easterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly sunny again tomorrow. Chance of thunderstorms 87. Lows level off around 61. Tomorrow night mainly clear. Low 90s Thursday and Friday with thunderstorms possible both days. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 82 degrees.
Pops Tire Service is your low-price headquarters for all major tire brands. We buy tires manufactured direct and sell to you for less. Right now, get up to $265 in rebates on Goodyear, up to $160 in rebates on Bridgestone, or up to $150 in rebates on Firestone. Pops Tire won't be undersold. Hurry, offers end July 31st. See store for details. Visit us online at pompstire.com. Pomps, we know tires and service. You should know Pomps.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Our locally owned Ace stores are committed to helping our neighbors and our communities. And because we're in the neighborhood, we can deliver almost anything you need. So shop in store or online for whatever your home or yard needs. Choose from top brands like Milwaukee, Stihl, Traeger, and Benjamin Moore. Then pick up in-store, curbside, or we'll deliver your order right to your home. Around the block, what you need in stock, with people who know how to help. See acehardware.com for details.
Live from the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Details Studio. Sales, service, and recreation. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
All right, who's hot and who's not every night on the Nate Brown Show at this time, brought to you by the Pizza Ranch, our favorite buffet in Rapid City. It's outstanding. Tonight, Kids Night. One child 12 and under eats free for every regular priced adult. Best deal right there. Best buffet in town. 2 locations in Rapid City, locally owned. The best buffet is at the Pizza Ranch. Kids Night tonight. Buffet open till 8 tonight. Dinner time. Who's hot and who's not on the Nate Brown Show? Let's go with who's hot category. So this is interesting research out when it comes to sports fans. Look at this. The majority of females in this country are sports fans. This just came out from Edison Research. They did a sports media study. I got a couple other things I'm going to share with you tomorrow on this, but this is interesting. 57% of the U.S. female population, 13 years and older, consider themselves to be sports fans. 57%. Now, here's an interesting one. 70% of women sports fans agree sports brings their family closer together. How about that? And then how about sports radio, sports podcasts like this show? You think we have female listeners? By the way, we do, and I absolutely appreciate it. We get texts in on this show and stuff, and people are like, oh, sports radio is just for men and jocks and meatheads. I get a lot of interaction from females on the text line and stuff, a lot. And here's what this study says. 33% of female sports fans, so these are the sports fans, 33%, 1 in 3, listen to sports audio content. There's 1 in 3 sports fans. They aren't just like, oh, yeah, I'll watch Caitlin Clark. No, the sports female fans are listening to sports audio content, like shows like this. That's amazing. 1 in 3. In our Pizza Ranch Who's Not category, do you know the golfer Colin Montgomery? You do know Colin. You have to know him. PGA 31-time winner on the European Tour. He did well on the PGA Tour as well. Colin Montgomery, 61 years old, okay? The Open is starting Thursday at Royal Troon. Colin Montgomery tells the Times of London, aren't we there with Tiger Woods calling it a career? He said, I would have thought we were past there. There's a time for all sportsmen to say goodbye, but it's very difficult to tell Tiger it's time to go. Obviously, he still feels he can win, but we're more realistic. Well, who's calling Montgomery to tell Tiger Woods to call it a career? Give me a break. Tiger hit him today, and I appreciated that. Tiger said, I get to come to the British Open anytime, the Open, because I'm a past winner. I can decide if I want to come or not. He said, Collins never won, so he can't decide or not. Thank you for playing. Back tomorrow at 4 on The Nate Brown Show. We'll be ready. Thanks for listening. The Nate Brown Show podcast going up right now.
Be able to trash anyone or anything in the world of sports for about 30 to